Okay, guys, we are back with the real Dem Shady here, because you have to be shady to be as knowledgeable as him and push the Democrats. All right, let's see what Dem and them has to say.
Guys, so I got a video here that I think you'll enjoy. I certainly enjoyed it. But look, in order to be a right-wing commentator in today's day and age,
and understand that even AOC says the Democrats are on the right. So he is a Democratic commentator. He is a right-wing commentator. He is going to be talking about himself right now.
you either have to know nothing about what you're talking about, or you have to be a liar.
We don't have a left party in the United States. The Democratic Party is not a left party.
He knows this. Kyle Kulinski
The Democratic Party is a center or center conservative party. We do not advocate for, we can't even get a floor vote on Medicare for all. Not even a floor vote that gets voted down. We can't even get a vote on it. So this is not a left party. There are left members.
And the real Dem Shady already knows this stuff, so that's why I call him Shady.
Like, there's really no way around it. You cannot be a leader in the MAGA commentariat if you tell the truth. If you tell the truth, and if you know what you're talking about, because everything, we are so far gone, we've crossed the line. The line is like...
Yeah, Dem and them is kind of too far gone now. He's got too much Trump derangement syndrome. He's too far right. He doesn't know what a leftist is anymore. He's just gone. It's crazy to see him talk like this. Okay, so this is Dem and them before he got so shady. Let's check it out.
The former Soviet Union and other authoritarian, dictatorial regimes. We're really talking about...
So can I just stop it? I know I stopped it too quickly.
Too quick, Jim.
Can I just say that the position I've had always on this show is that I'm not triggered by Donald Trump because he's a game show host. I'm triggered by a system that made people so desperate that they were willing to vote for a guy who was game show host who didn't even appear.
The system is the Democrats and the Republicans. We need to fight the system.
To want the job in the first place. So I get triggered by the system that is so corrupt that they're beyond the pale for voting for them. They're both criminally against the voter and the worker. And so I don't get triggered by Trump, and Trump's a distraction. So that's what we've said. That's what Kyle used to say.
Right? Trump is a distraction. Kyle used to say it, but the real Dem Shady is going to fall into that distraction now.
So now he says
TDS
this.
all the way.
The former Soviet Union and other authoritarian, dictatorial regimes. We're really talking about other people being dictatorial.
And Donald Trump and Ron DeSantis, as bad as Biden is, you guys are significantly worse, and it's not even close. The Democrats are just way better. They're just way better.
So better.
They're a trillion times better than Republicans.
So shady. He knows they're not.
All right, so there's a lot I have to say in response to this. These kinds of criticisms from this guy. I honestly believe that these people usually overstate how bad Trump is, and they understate how bad Biden is.
Oh, man. Really?
Well, you're more ideologically in agreement with Biden than you are in agreement with Trump.
Well, actually, when it comes to the First Step Act, I agree with Trump on that.
That's why
when it comes to pardoning Alice Johnson, I agree with Trump on that. When it comes to TPP, Trump's against it, Biden's for it. I agree with Trump on that. I agree more with Trump on North Korea than I agree with Biden. I would need to be convinced that Biden would fight for at least one or two of my top 5 issues. Medicare for all, free college, living wage.
I missed the first
Trump
one.
on North Korea, then I agree with Biden. I would need to be convinced that Biden would fight
Let's see if the Green Party agrees with any one of these 5 things.
For at least one or two of my top 5 issues. Medicare for all.
Green Party.
Free college.
Yep.
Living wage.
Yep.
Ending the wars.
Yep.
And UBI.
Yep.
The people who say Trump is a...
So, Dem Shady here is going to say all this to tell you to go vote for the Democrats. When, just listen to him. He's lying to you right now. All day, every day. He's been lying to you, telling you, oh my gosh, Trump is so much worse than the Democrats the past, year or so? This is the truth. What he's saying now is the truth, but he's going to lie to you now. There's no difference in them. So shady.
He's a fascist. And they think he's like, basically...
And he knows the Green Party platform. He knows that the Green Party holds all 5 of those things that he said are very important to him. But he's going to back the Democratic Party, who doesn't hold any of those 5 things important to them. Is that not shady?
We can't survive another 4 years of America with him. Yes. The country will survive 4 years with Trump. The country will survive 4 years with Joe Biden. Again, I think they understate how bad Biden is. Why? On so many core issues, he's...
Crime bill Biden put so many people in jail, broke up so many black families, destroyed a generation or 3 probably of black families.
Against us. Me, at least. I can't speak for this guy. Joe Biden pushed for NAFTA. He repeatedly pushed for TPP.
NAFTA, TPP, the Iraq War. Biden is a terrible, terrible decision maker. If not a terrible person, at best, he's a terrible decision maker. At worst, he's a terrible person.
He's a supporter of the Iraq War.
There you go.
On all the pivotal issues of his...
He didn't even bring up the crime bill. Bring up the crime bill. He wrote the worst thing that probably, next to the 13th Amendment, or he wrote the worst thing for black people since the 13th Amendment that anybody could have ever written. Really?
Time. He was wrong. So stop overstating how bad Trump is. The country's still going to exist in 4 years.
Listen to this
and
man.
Understating how bad Biden is.
Professional
it's
wrong
annoying.
Man.
I just don't agree with the people who are like, he's a fascist, he's a Nazi,
oh my
the country's not going to exist in 4 years. You're hyperbolic and you're ridiculous.
You got knocked the
I don't know, dog. If your instincts are that bad now, I'm not really interested in what you have to say, right? But for the love of God, bro, do you believe in anything? Do you believe in anything? No, there's a...
And again, that's why I call him shady, because to know as much as he knows and to be a vote blue no matter who Democrat is shady.
17 miles back there. That's how much we've crossed the line, right? And so you have to end up defending the most absurd things anybody's ever defended. And look, some of these people are idiots, and then others are liars, right?
And so he's a liar. He's not an idiot. He's lying to you.
And it varies case by case. But here we have Representative Malinowski, Democrat from New Jersey, I believe. And he's on CNN, just sort of a mild-mannered guy. I'm sure if I went through his record with a fine-tooth comb, I'm sure I'd find some votes that I don't agree with, right? And, you know, so I'm not necessarily singing this guy's praises in terms of his voting record. But he was put up against Kevin O'Leary. Is that his name? I think it's Kevin O'Leary on CNN. And this guy, we've known this guy is loathsome for a while, right? I remember there was that Oxfam report that came out years ago, and it said something like, the 27 richest people in the world have more wealth than the bottom 50% combined. It was some fact like that. It's only...
And I would bet 90% of them give to the Democrats.
Gotten worse since then, by the way. Now it's like the richest, like 3 people or 10 people or whatever have more wealth than the bottom 50% combined. And this dude went on TV, and I shit you not, he said, well, that's a good thing, because then it gives the people at the bottom something to aspire to. Yeah. Yeah.
And the Democrats feel the same way, though. They take their billionaire donors and they love capitalism. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps. Democrats very much the same as the Republicans.
The fact that those words can come out of anybody's mouth should be disturbing to you. Like the idea, bro, we live in a meritocracy. Just work harder and you'll get further. Again, that's the biggest myth I've ever heard. We have millions, tens of millions of people in this country alone that are working poor. That means they work a full-time job and they still can't pay the bills. Don't tell. I personally know people who work 2 or 3 jobs.
You say something like 80% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck. I would consider that like the working poor. If you don't know where, like if you miss your next paycheck, you're going to be homeless. That's working poor.
And we're living at or just below the poverty line. Hardest working people I've ever met. The idea that the harder you work, the further you go is not true. It's also not true that the smarter you are, the further you go. That's not true at all. Unfortunately, in this dystopian late
it's more about who you know than what you know.
Stage capitalist system, oftentimes the most shameless and the most exploitative people rise to the top, or you're already at the top because you got daddy's money.
Yeah, when the system rewards greed, greedy people win the system. daddy's money, who you know, who you're born to.
Right? So just total misunderstanding of the way the world works. Total capitalist cuck. I can't say enough.
He's going to call somebody a cuck, the way he cucks to the Democratic Party, and a capitalist cuck at that, when the Democrats are just as capitalist as the Republicans. You're going to sit here and say vote blue no matter who for crime bill Joe Biden or prosecutor Kamala Harris, and talk about the Democrat or somebody cucking to anybody when you are the biggest cuck to the Democratic Party that I've ever seen anyone cuck ever. You are the most cucked cuck I've ever seen in my life.
Of negative stuff about him, but they're going to talk about Doge here, and
but you seen the video earlier where he's beating himself up. He cucked himself. TDS is like a self cuck. I don't even get it how someone can go that far that fast. Go from being aware to too far gone. But he's still aware, but he's just now a liar. He's shady. He's a Democratic shill.
And Elon, and this is glorious, because O'Leary. Like, he's so smug and so arrogant, but he just runs into a brick wall of reality. Here we go.
There's no way to be surgically precision in this. You have to cut more because you just don't know. There's no way to do it. Remember, we've never audited government for 100 years. Never done this before. You may not like it.
Tom doesn't think that's right. Tom, what's your reaction?
I was about to say, I don't think that's right. We audited the Pentagon several times, like they failed the audit. But isn't that an audit? If you do an audit and you fail, it's still an audit, right? And that's been in the newspaper, or whatever online. I'm sure they've audited different parts of the government very often. You do it every year, so when you're that big of a entity.
To that, there's government's not audited.
Every agency of the federal government, it helps to know some things if we're going to have this debate. Every agency of the federal government is audited by independent inspectors general. USAID was audited over 60 times last year. And one of the first things that Donald Trump...
Okay, so 60 times in 1 year. I would think once a year is enough, but hey, that's a lot.
Elon Musk did was to fire all of the inspectors general. They fired the auditors, and they put in charge this billionaire with his 50 child interns who know absolutely nothing about the federal government. And Kevin, like what you're talking about, it might work for a company that makes widgets, because we can do without the company that makes widgets for a few months while you get in there and you restructure it. You can't do that to the FAA unless people aren't going to fly in planes for the next 4 or 5 months. You can't do that to the Defense Department unless you don't want to defend this country for the next 4 or 5 months.
Well, on that, we really don't need to defend the country. Ain't nobody attacking us. We're the attackers. So, I mean, we could, audit the defense people.
It's ridiculous that we're even having this argument. And I'm someone who believes there is waste in government and there are ways to get at it, but not by firing everybody first, shutting things down while you investigate. Do the investigation, work with Congress, work with these employees, do it right. It's been done before.
God damn, bro. So O'Leary, did you hear what O'Leary said? I mean, again, you either have to be a liar or know nothing. And
to support the Democratic Party, yes, you have to be a liar or know nothing.
Great. I would be embarrassed. You're agreeing to this debate on Doge and Elon Musk, and you don't know the first fucking thing about what you're talking about.
And see, that's the part, that's why he's shady, because he knows the first fucking thing of what he's talking about, and he's still going to tell you to vote blue no matter who, when they're no different, and that's why he's the real Dem Shady.
One more time, listen to what O'Leary says.
Yes, you can't be surgically precision. There's no way to be surgically precision in this.
There's no way to be surgically precision on this? You mean surgically precise?
Yes.
Oh my God.
Because you just don't know.
To have surgical precision.
There's no way to do it. Remember, we've never audited government for 100 years. Never done this before. You may not like it.
Tom doesn't think that's right.
We've never audited government for 100 years.
You need to check out multi.
Haven't audited government, let's see.
I'm happy this guy was armed with just basic information. Thank God. And unfortunately, in many of these, both sides debates, oftentimes you have some...
The O'Leary guy is armed with basic information. He really doesn't know what he's talking about, so you could forgive him for being dumb, right? Dem Shady here has all the information. He does this for a living. He knows politics front and back, and he's still going to be a Democratic shill and talk about he's on the left. That is the biggest lie in this whole video, is him acting like he's on the left and that Democrats are too.
Somebody who represents the liberal side or the left side or the Democratic side that doesn't.
The liberal side, left side. They're two different sides. Liberal is right wing. Left is left. A liberal is a right-wing capitalist, is very close to Donald Trump, nowhere near a communist, left-wing, community-oriented person. It's very, very different. And he knows the difference, and this is why he's shady.
They actually don't know all these things, right? But man, as he pointed out, we have the Inspector General.
So if you're in his audience and you like get angry at the stuff I say about this, look up communism, look up capitalism, look up like his old videos. If you look up his videos from like 10 years ago, 7 years ago, you're gonna hear a totally different person. But look up, say, Bad Mouse, Non-Compete, Bad Empanada, Jamal Thomas. There's a lot of people you can look up and find real left-wing Savvy Sabs, real left-wing communist views. This guy is lying to you. He is a liberal. He is a right-wing liar. He just is.
Their whole purpose is to find the waste, fraud, and abuse. Donald Trump fired them in the first week, okay? Then we also have, he didn't get to this part yet, but this is also true. We have the GAO, the Government Accountability Office. They do the same thing, and they have congressional authorization to do it. So when they say, bro, nobody's ever audited anything, that's just not true. The Pentagon had 7 audits. By the way, they failed all of them. All of them.
There you go.
The audit prior to this most recent one, I remember because I read the article on it in Responsible Statecraft, I think it was. They couldn't account for over 60% of their money. 60%.
Sounds like a failed audit.
We've never audited anything. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about. You don't know what you're talking about. And these guys,
see, you do, and you're still going to give very, very bad advice.
Elon lies on a regular basis. Trump lies on a regular basis. This guy lies on a regular basis. Guys, we have hard data on this. So the Government Accountability Office says anywhere from 3% to 7% of the federal budget is fraudulent, right? Remember they were trying to cut Social Security and they were, 150-year-olds are getting it. That wasn't true. And we know the fraud rate in Social Security specifically is 0.84%.
It's pretty low.
There's less fraud relative to other areas, and that's one they had on the fucking chopping block, just lying about it relentlessly. And
well, I mean, you make it easy for them to lie when you always lie. Like, if you're pushing the lesser evil, the greater evil can do more. If you were pushing a good, then it'd be hard for them to lie. Like, if you're pushing a party that was for universal health care, if you were pushing a party that was for higher minimum wage or UBI, if you're pushing a party that was for, pre-K, universal pre-K and state-paid colleges, you would have something to say. You're pushing a party that does the same thing as they do. Shady.
By the way, the 0.84 fraud percent rate is slight overpayments to people, which I don't know about you, but I'm kind of okay with it if an 86-year-old grandma gets a little bit of extra money so she can get a ham sandwich, right? But no, Elon gives himself $20 billion in subsidies, steals $400 million more in subsidies for some Tesla shit. We just learned about that the other day. At the same time, he's slashing cancer research for kids. And they're like, bro, we got to cut Social Security like 50%, bro, because it's all fraudulent, bro. None of that is true. And then, of course, I think Kevin O'Leary is Canadian. Do you know anything about how this government works in the United States of America? We've described it before, but the way it works is Congress has the power of the purse. They pass a bill. If the president signs it, that's it. It's law. The funds go to the Treasury disperses the funds. That's it. The only people who can be involved in that process in any way, shape, or form after that point is, as we said, the Inspector General or the Government Accountability Office. That's it. Not the world's richest robber baron illegally hacking into the Treasury, stealing our bank account information, stealing our data, stealing our Social Security numbers, deleting government programs he doesn't like. And by the way, there's over a dozen, I believe, government programs that are investigating Elon Musk for his exploitative practices and his labor violations. And oh, would you look at that? Those are some of the agencies directly in the crosshairs of Elon Musk that he's dismantling. This is what we saw with the CFPB, the anti-scam police. They were going to regulate Elon Musk because Elon Musk made a deal with Visa to do financial transactions on Twitter, so they would be subject to the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau regulating them. So what did he do? He killed the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. Why? Because he's a con artist, and he's a fraudster, and he wants to get away with fraud, and he wants all of his robber baron buddies to also be able to get away with fraud. Right? Trump gave the game away on this the other day when he was like, oh, people come up to me and they say, sir, the CFPB has ruined me, sir. Tears in their eyes. I don't doubt that happened, but you know where that happened? At Mar-a-Lago. where the head of a giant Wall Street firm or a big bank comes up to him saying, "Oh my God, they're holding me accountable and not letting me commit fraud." Trump brought back junk fees. They brought back junk fees. They brought back overdraft fees, higher overdraft fees. These people don't give a fuck about you. Elon, Trump, and the lying liar Kevin O'Leary. I'll be kind. Maybe he's just a fucking idiot.
And so the younger generation now tells me how tough things are. Give me a break. No. I have no empathy.
It doesn't matter whether or not they were deprived as a youth. It doesn't matter or not whether or not they had no background that enabled them to become socialized into the fabric of society. It doesn't matter whether or not they're the victims of society.
From Democratic leadership itself.
I know what he's talking about. But either way, you shouldn't be doing this debate. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Or you do and you're lying. So, by the way, you go ask anybody in MAGA. Ask them. Hey, I know you think Doge is going after waste, fraud, and abuse. They're not, but let's put that aside. Did the government have a way of going after waste, fraud, and abuse before Doge? Ask. Watch what happens. Not a single one will bring up the inspectors general. Not a single one will bring up the Government Accountability Office. None of them will mention it. None of them.
None of them probably know, though. Like, people don't advertise what they do in their government jobs type of stuff. Like, a few people know who did stuff like that, but most people don't know who's running our government or, like, the businesses within or the levels within.
Unbelievable.
People only know about Doge because Donald Trump is a loudmouth, right? He talks about Doge, and Elon Musk is running around on Twitter talking about Doge, so people know about Doge.
And by the way, this is a nice moment here, but I also do want to say, for clarity's sake, you can't have a media environment where you have Fox News, One America News Network, Newsmax, The Daily Wire, all of these committed right-wing outlets that...
And he's a committed center-right outlet, and he's gonna
do MAGA propaganda on a daily basis.
Doing Democratic propaganda on a daily basis, no different. He's gonna keep you a capitalist. He's gonna keep you on the right, keep you in one of the two corporate parties that fight for the same things. Nobody's gonna give you universal health care over there. Nobody's gonna raise your minimum wage. Nobody's gonna do the things good for your kids. They're not gonna pay your coaches. They're not gonna give you good public schools. They're not gonna give you good anything. But he's going to tell you to stay with the Democrats. Watch, the other corporate party that's the same as the other corporate party.
And then the outlets that are not that, all day long it's both sides shit. All day long.
It doesn't matter if it's both sides shit. They're the same side.
It's false equivalence. It's both sides. Oh, let's bring on some absolute dead-eyed psychopath who's a MAGA.
So you just saw Joe Biden, a dead-eyed psychopath. Doesn't matter why you got to where you were. It doesn't matter. I could put on Hillary Clinton saying the same thing. I could put on Kamala Harris talking about with the stroke of her pen, she could put you in jail. They don't care. The Democrats are just as psychotic. This dude knows it. He's done videos on this stuff. He's one of the main reasons I know about the Democrats. This is insane.
MAGA supporter to lie on a panel with 4 non-MAGA supporters, then the whole conversation gets derailed, where now you got to debunk this guy's bullshit. What about just having a news network? Here's a crazy idea. Oops, sorry. Kick this thing again.
A news network like Secular Talk that just sucks the Democrats' balls and just tells you how great they are. Democrat love it all. Just like he's going to say Fox does. He's doing this for the Democrats right now. He is what he's want. You are exactly what you're asking for, Kyle. You are it. You are the Democratic Sycophantic Network. There you go.
Making a habit of that.
What's that, DSN? Oh, we don't want to call him that. Democratic Sycophantic Network. This is Democratic. Oh, DSN. DSN. Yeah, he's DSN right there. Democratic Socialist Network.
What about having a news network that...
Democratic Sycophant Network. I'm sorry.
Just tells the truth. Just tells the truth. And if we're going to have that...
We'll just tell the...
What about having a news network that just tells the truth?
Oh, we have those.
Just tells the truth. And if we're going to have that...
Savvy Sabs is like that. Hard Lens Media is pretty much like that. I try to be like that. If I'm wrong sometimes, you know... My bad, I don't try to be. But the further left you go, you're going to find people who pretty much try their best to tell the truth. People like this are going to, you see him arguing with himself at the beginning of the video. He's going to lie to you. If you're going to say that the Democrats or Republicans, either party, pick one. If you're going to say that they're good for you, you know you're lying.
Sorry, people like Kevin O'Leary are not allowed on. Because they're either idiots or they're liars. They're either ignorant or they're liars.
People like Dem and them, he's not an idiot, but he is a liar.
There's no other way around it. So they are poisoning our information system. That's the bottom line. They're poisoning it.
And yes, Dem Shady, he is very much poisoning our information system the past year and a half. Very bad. You and Crystal Ball, you and your wife, very much poison to the information system.
And then nobody gets real truth. Nobody gets the straight dope with no fucking spin. Right? And they got to come to YouTube assholes like
this
me
man talking about
to
no
give it to them,
spin. All you do is
not
spin
good.
now.
That's not good. I'd rather have the truth being broadcast on major media outlets as well. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe.
Holy shit, talking about no spin. All you do is Democratic spin. You are just sitting on the finger and flying around like a helicopter. Are you serious? So insane. But we're going to leave it there. Keep getting your information from